So let's start with the concepts of object-oriented programming. That what object is, what object does. Okay, as I told you, if you pick up any Java book, it will say object is instance of a class and all that stuff. But what practically object is, how it works with Selenium, and how do we use objects in Selenium? Fine. Look, I'll explain you in a very simple way. I'll create a new class and I'll name that class as student. I'll not have any main function inside it, and I will write over here name. I'll give the student one property, that the name of the student, that there is some name of the student. Now, if I create a new class known as say test.java and I create the main function in it. So basically I am creating a file with the main function. Okay, right. And in this main function, what we'll do is that we'll create the object. We'll create the object of which class? Of student class. How do we create it? We write new student. This thing, what it does, it creates the object. But what does it do practically? What happens when the object is created? What is the advantage of creating the object? Okay, look, when you say that the object has been created, what happens is that in the memory, a special space is allocated to the object and it will have the property name inside it. Okay, the name property will be there in the object. You can create any number of objects for a class. I've created 3 objects. So in the memory, 3 spaces will be allocated to the object and every space will have the name. But you cannot access this object. To access this object, we have to have object reference. You need to write like this, say student S1 equals to this, and student S2 and student S3. S1, S2 and S3 are not objects. These are known as references to the objects. S1, S2 and S3, they point towards the objects S1 and S2 and S3. Okay, S1 will or S2 will or S3 will, they will change the state of the objects. For example, if I write S1 dot, you will see a lot of things coming up. We'll see that, but you will see the name property coming up. So I can put the name of S1 as A, S2 as an S3. I can initialize the name for 3 objects. I can initialize the name for this as A, this as B, and this as C. So objects and object references, they are different. First of all, I can declare like this. I can write over here student S4 equals to null. Null means that S4 is pointing to no student. Okay, and on the next line I can make it point towards an object of student class. Alright. What exactly is this dot? Okay, with this dot you can access the inner contents of the object. Right now my student has got one property name. If I put a dot over here, I will get that option name over here. Suppose in the student class, I add another property, int age. Then, when we create the object of the student class, with every student s1 dot, I will get the age option also. You're getting my point? Whatever are the properties in the student class, you can get those. And in the memory also, one more property will be formed, age. You got my point, right? Age for this is, I put various values, 10, 20 and 15. So with the dot, with the object reference and putting a dot in front of object reference, you can access. Now the beauty is that there is just one class student, but with that one class I have actually created three different students in the memory. It's like virtualization, you can say. Every object will have its own properties and every object can be accessed separately with the object reference. And as I told you, object reference is different, object is different. On the right hand side, this is the object and this is the object reference. You can initially you can, like I've made s4, s4 is null. That means it's not pointing towards any object. But if I write s4 equals to new student, it will actually point towards the student object. Okay. Now, if I print s1 dot name and I print s2 dot name and s3 dot name, if I run the code, you will get the output. Hold on, I'll move my console. You can drag the console to the right side so that we can see the output on the right side. A, B and C printers. Now, here comes a little twist. If I write s1 equals to s3, this means that in the memory, s1 will no longer point towards this object and s1 will point towards the object to which s3 is pointing. So s1 and s3 can access the same object. Multiple object references can refer one object. It is possible. And any of them can change the state. For example, if I write over here s1 dot name equals to z, and if I print again these three lines, okay, and if I run it, this is the output. For s1 and s3 it is printing z. Okay, this is because s1 has changed the name to z. If s3 also accesses the name, it will be z. Look, Saroj, don't think about annotations right now. Okay, because people will get confused. I'll tell you about them. I'll tell you everything. Let's go step by step. So, this is how it works. Alright. There are many ways to make singleton, Saroj. It's not just by this thing. Right. There are many ways. So, simply follow this right now. Now, objects are there in the memory. They are fixed. But object references can change and they can change their locations from one object to another object. Right. Once you register, and the people who have registered for the training, when you log in into your account, at the bottom of the module 1 and module 2 and module 3, you will find exercises. Please solve those exercises. That will give you more insight into object oriented programming. Okay. Now coming to the technical jargon which we speak in Java. What is an object? Object is an instance of a class. It's actually an instance of a class. We are creating three instances of the class over here. We are creating three objects. And every instance has got its own set of properties. Okay, right. If you talk about this class, then these two variables are known as non-static variable. What is static? What is non-static? I'm just coming over to that. This is also known as non-static variable. If you uh, create a function, for example, public void print name, and inside it I'll print, I am assuming at least you know what a function is. Function is something which is to, it's like a factory. You can call it and it will do some actions for you. Okay, so you print that the name is, and you print the name. Now this print name function will also become part of every object. This print name function will also become part of every object. And what it does, it prints the name of the object. Now when you call this, if I call it over here, I'll just put a demarcating line. S1 dot, you put, now you will see the function print name coming up over here. If I write S1 dot P, it will get filtered. Okay, print name. And I write S2 dot print name and S3 dot print name. And when I run this code, it prints that name is ZD and Z. It prints the names of the corresponding reference, the objects to which these references are pointing. So if you are calling the print name of S1, it will print C. Okay. If you are calling the print name for S2, it will print the name as B for the corresponding object. Alright. And technically, this is known as a non-static function. Now, what is static? What is non-static? Suppose all the students which we are creating are from one school. All the students have the same school. Okay, right. So when we are creating the object, I'll give a school name to every student. S1 dot school is, say, city school. Similarly, S2 is also having same school and S3 is also having same school. So every object has the value of school name as same. School name will be there in every object. And we know that the value of school name is same for every object. Now this looks a little monotonous. I am giving the same school name to all the three objects. Okay. So what we do is that instead of having this, doing this and repeating the same thing, right, we make this school name as static. When we name it static, what happens is that first of all, it gets removed from the object. And there is a common location in the memory where the school name will be saved and it can be accessed by all the objects. Okay, so static is something which is not the property of object. This is static. It is not in the object. If you look at test.java, you will have a yellow warning over here for school name. So school name is not in the object. It can be accessed directly with the class. You can write student dot, you will get the option school name equals to, you can put city school. So all the students will have the same school. The static properties of the class can be accessed directly with the name of the class. The non-static properties of the class can be accessed with the object reference. Okay, non-static is accessed with the object references. The static is accessed with the help of the class name. So anyone with any questions? You can feel free to ask your questions. So this is the most important thing about static and non-static, which you need to know about Selenium. In Selenium, there are inbuilt classes. We create the objects of those classes. We call the non-static functions from the objects. We also use static properties of those classes. Okay, so the rule is very simple. In a class, there can be a static thing and there can be a non-static thing. To access the static thing, you can directly use the class name. To access the non-static thing, you have to create an object of the class. Okay, right. Now, how is this used in Selenium? Let us look at that. Look, I don't want to teach you Java. I don't want to continuously keep on teaching you Java. Okay, I will first teach you the concepts of object-oriented programming, Java, and then parallelly I'll take up some Selenium concepts. Okay, let's go to this Selenium basics class. Now, if you look at this documentation of Selenium, these are all the classes in Selenium. You can create the objects of these classes. You don't need to remember all of them. Even I don't remember, but you need to have the knack of reading this Java doc, searching on Google and all everything. Okay, now there's a class known as Firefox driver. This class is used to, it's clearly described over here, it drives the Firefox browser. You need to create the object of this class. You write new Firefox driver. You create the object of this inbuilt class. If you want to automate stuff on Firefox, you have to create the object of this class. You need to import it. This class is present somewhere in the jar files of Selenium which you have put in your project. If you don't put your jar files over here, you will never be able to use this class. Okay. If I run this, everybody will get error in Selenium 3. Some exception will come up out here. Okay, the path to driver executable must be set by WebDriver.jco.driver and all. Okay, so what you need to do is that to work with Firefox, okay, go to the Selenium website, go to the download section and scroll down. You will have Mozilla Gecko driver and you click on this. Okay, and you hold on, they have changed some things. Just a minute. Yeah. Just 1 minute. They have changed it. Okay, compatible with Selenium 3.4 and greater. They've put it on GitHub. Yeah, you click on this link, the version. Alright, and you scroll down. You can download the exe. There's a exe which you need to download for your operating system. Okay, when you download and extract the zip file, you will get this GeckoDriver.exe file. Okay, I'll download it because the version of Selenium has changed. So I'll download it for my PC. Just give me 1 minute. Just hold on. And extract the zip file. So you will have this GeckoDriver.exe. Okay, which I have pasted here. Don't run this exe, you will not get anything by running this exe. Okay, what you need to do is that in the code you need to write the command system dot set property webdriver dot gecko dot driver comma and give the path of this exe. In my PC it is lying in F drive drivers GeckoDriver.exe. In Selenium 2.53 this is not required, but in Selenium 3.x it is required. Alright, in Selenium 3.2.53 you just write directly new Firefox driver, it will start working. Make sure this is all whatever I've written webdriver.gecko, it's in lowercase. Sometimes people keep W for this as capital. System is an inbuilt class and set property is a static function in this. It's an inbuilt class in Java. Okay, that's why you can directly call this function because it is static. This set property function is static. So system class dot set property, this property you need to set. Now when you run this, the driver executable does not, okay, there's a spelling mistake, Gecko driver. Now when you run this, you will see that a blank Firefox will open up. Yes, Ankit, every time you have to use this. Okay, every time a blank Firefox opens up. Now to manage this Firefox, you have to create object reference. You can write Firefox driver fd equals to this. So fd is the reference to Firefox browser. If you write fd dot, you get a lot of functions which are there with the browser. We'll study them in this course. For example, function like close will close the Firefox browser. If you click on get, you can mention the website. For example, I'll write http yahoo.com. So this will take you to Yahoo. Mentioning the protocol is important. It is not like QTP. In QTP, you can simply ignore the protocol. In Selenium, you have to mention HTTP. Now, if I run this, this will open your Firefox. Don't think that these are errors in Eclipse. Okay, those are just log messages. Okay, and it will take you to yahoo.com. Alright, fine. So out here, you have to just a minute. You have to understand that the messages coming over here are log messages. They are not errors. People sometimes ask me that some error is coming. This is not an error or exception. Okay, right. There are a few questions being asked. Only Firefox, not about other browser. I am coming over to that, Raghav. So Firefox browser is used like this. Now, about other browsers, if you go to the documentation of Selenium, if you go to Java docs, you will find, if you scroll down, for Chrome you will find Chrome driver. It is the implementing class that controls the Chrome browser. So you need to create the object of Chrome driver here. Okay. Right. And you need to import it. This is also present in one of the jar files. Now, the thing is, you have to download an exe for Chrome again. For Chrome again, you need to go to the download section of Selenium and go to, scroll down, you will see this Chrome driver exe. Click on this and latest release, you can go over here. Okay, and you can download the Chrome driver exe for your OS. For Windows 32-bit or 64-bit, this is the exe. Even for 64-bit it will work. Alright, and in my PC it is over here. I've downloaded and extracted it. So you have to write the line, this line for Chrome. System.set property webdriver.chrome.driver and path to Chrome driver exe. Okay, if I run this, this will open a blank Chrome. Alright, and if you want to control that Chrome, you will have to use the functions. Chrome driver dot, you will get a lot of functions over here. Again, if I write get, you will be taken to that website. You can put up the URL over here. So if I run this code, this will open the browser Chrome and it will take you to yahoo.com. So the functions inside the driver classes, okay, you need to learn them. No, these names CDFD, you can give them any name. This is the name of the reference. Whatever is the name of the reference, you put a dot in front of it, you will get the option. Okay, right? Now, similarly, there is a driver for Internet Explorer. It's known as Internet Explorer driver. You write over here, look, you don't have to write the full word in Eclipse. There are shortcuts available. If you write INTER and hit control spacebar of the keyboard, you will get control spacebar. You will get all the classes starting with this. And now if you type in further, that is internet, you can have them, listed or shortlisted. This is the driver which I want to use. Okay, so I'll create the object for this. Again, I can write IN, I get the option. Okay, you hit the control space bar. For I also, you need to download an exe from the Selenium website. Okay, you need to go to the download section, and for I, you will have the Internet Explorer driver server for your 32-bit IE or 64-bit. It is not your OS but the IE version. You can download and install it. I have it over here. Okay, what you need to do, you need to write the similar line, system.set property webdriver.i.driver, and you need to give the path of iDriver.exe. Okay, and you can write i.get to the same yahoo.com. When you run this, this will open I and it will take you to yahoo.com. In your PC, IE11 will be supported by Selenium. There are few restrictions on IE. Secondly, firstly is IE11. Secondly, if you get some error or something, make sure that in IE under view, The zoom level is set to 100%. If you don't set it to 100%, Selenium can throw you an exception. It won't start IE properly. Thirdly, you should make sure that in the tools option windows, if IE is not working, go to this internet options. You will have the security tab. There will be 4 tabs in this. Shut down, bring down the leveler to the minimum position for all the 4 tabs. Okay, basically turn off the protection. Alright, I will start working if it's not working then. Okay, so these are the 3 major drivers: Firefox, Chrome, Internet Explorer. There are other drivers. I never installed JavaDocs in Eclipse, Akash. I referred them from the Selenium website. I went to the Selenium website, seleniumhq.org, and I went to the download section and I downloaded JavaDocs from this JavaDoc link. You can import not downloaded, I saw the JavaDocs, sorry. You can import these JavaDocs in Eclipse. You can do that. You copy the path to JavaDoc. When you click on this JavaDoc link, copy the immediate URL, go to your Eclipse, right click on day 1 project, go to the properties and go to the main jar file of Selenium. This is the main jar file, client combined 3.4. Expand it. You will see JavaDoc location and you can put the location of JavaDoc over here. Remove index.html in the end. I am recording this session. Don't worry, you will get the recordings. Just concentrate on what I am doing. It's okay if you forget things. You can see the recordings. Fine. So you can put this, remove index.html, click on validate, and this will say location is valid and all everything. Click on OK, click on OK, click on OK. Now JavaDocs are imported in Eclipse. Say if I move my mouse over Internet Explorer driver, it will tell me about it. Just moving my mouse over Internet Explorer driver, it tells you about it. If I write I dot, you get a list of functions. If I click on these functions, I get the description that what they do. These descriptions and all are coming from JavaDocs. Hold on Akash, I'll tell you. Right, you can click on these functions, you'll get the descriptions. If you click on any link in the description, then JavaDocs will open inside Eclipse. Okay, and it becomes really handy. Alright, it's opening, somehow it's keeping a delay. Hold on. You click on any link. Yeah, it's opened somehow. Yeah, it's opened. Over here, switch to the frames view. You will see frames on the top. Click on this. You will switch over to the frames view where you can see all the classes and all that. So to import JavaDocs, I did a very simple thing. I went to the Selenium website. Under the download section, I clicked on JavaDocs and I copied the URL. I have recorded this. You can refer the recording as well. Right. I went to the project, right clicked on it, went to the properties, went to the libraries, and in the main jar file, I expanded the main jar file, and in the JavaDoc location, I pasted the URL and removed index.html from the end. You can validate it, right? And that's how I added it. Okay. Now, I taught you about 3 drivers, which will be the 3 primary drivers of focus: Firefox, Chrome and IE. And in these JavaDocs, if you scroll down, you will have something known as WebDriver written over here. You click on this. These are all the drivers in Selenium. Safari driver, remote web driver, Opera driver, all these things. Look, Safari driver and Opera driver, they are unstable. They have issues with them and I would suggest you not to use. Remote WebDriver we will be using in case of GRID. When we study GRID, when we see how to run the test cases parallelly on multiple machines, I'll talk about this. For time being, we'll be focusing on the three major drivers, IE, Firefox and Chrome. Okay. Now, the next question is, every driver over here, will you study every driver separately? Firefox driver has got its own set of functions. These are three different classes. Chrome driver has got its own set of functions and IE has its own set of functions. What if there is a single script and I have to execute that single script on multiple machines? Sorry, on multiple browsers, not machines, on multiple browsers. I want that I have written a script, say, which goes and the script will go and book a ticket on any travel website. Now I want to run that script on all the three browsers. Will I be writing separate code for Firefox, Chrome, IE and all? The answer to that comes from the concept of interfaces in Java, and that I will take up tomorrow. Okay, I will stop here for today. Meanwhile, anybody having any questions? We have got time. We have got time with us, but I don't want to start off with this because I need a full-fledged an hour or so for this. Okay. So anybody with any questions till now? So gradually we will move towards Selenium and the functions of Selenium and all. Then we'll see file handling. We'll see test-ng and grid and all. We'll see how to, then we'll start building the framework and all. Okay, right. So anybody with any questions? There are 5-hour classes on weekdays and 4 hours on weekends. How are you covering the 1 hour? Look, I don't compare weekdays or weekends. Sometimes weekends classes, they are extended. And as a trainer, I know that if I take a 2-hour class, I can cover more rather than taking 2 classes of 1 hour each. There are factors out here. Okay, and yeah.
How many classes in a weekend? How many times?
2 hours on Saturdays, 2 hours on Sundays.
Oh, okay. So can I join another session too, or just only one session?
Yeah, another session. Yeah, you can join in. Okay, the question being, there's a question being asked, what is a constructor? I had kept the constructor concept over here. I have deliberately not covered it right now. Okay, I'll keep it in red. Actually, I want to cover it over here. When I will tell you Firefox driver class and I will discuss the constructors of Firefox driver, then I will actually cover this concept of, because you can actually relate it. If I tell you right now, you will not be able to relate it practically. For example, I told you what objects are and then I told you can create the object of the driver classes, something like this. Okay? Right. Anybody with any other question? I have recorded this session. You will get the recording. Yeah, tell me.
I see. Are you covering Appium as well?
No, in this training I will not be covering Appium. It will go too vast otherwise. We have a separate course for Appium. Okay. Yes, XPath listeners and all will come to know. Though in the current version of Selenium you don't need any listeners. I'll tell you. In the earlier versions of Selenium you had to require them to make reports and all. But right now, these days, we have got better reporting. With the reports which I showed you earlier, these are known as XSLT reports. Earlier we used to use something known as listeners and all to generate reports. But now we don't need them because these reports, around 6 months back, these XSLT reports, they came up and they are really good. You can have the pie chart, description and all, everything for every test case. What was RC used? Why was RC used earlier? There is a question being asked. This is a good question. Why was RC being used earlier? Look, as I told you, Selenium RC, I don't know when it came in the market, but I worked on it for the first time in 2007. Then Selenium WebDriver came up. Okay, in 2011. Look, RC was a tool which was doing the same things like WebDriver does. It automates the browsers, but it had lot of drawbacks. For example, if you want to go to a web page and count how many links are there on that web page, go to yahoo.com and count the total number of links. If I give you a simple exercise, if you use Selenium RC, it's very difficult to do it rather than WebDriver. In WebDriver, you will write a 2-line code and you can do it. In RC, you have to literally scratch your head. So there were various drawbacks in RC. That's why people came up with WebDriver. Okay, right? No, WebDriver. Another question being asked is WebDriver is combination of RC and GRID. No, look, GRID, keep it aside. First of all, there was no migration from RC to WebDriver. RC is completely different than WebDriver. WebDriver has got its own set of classes, and these classes are not there in RC, or RC classes are not there in WebDriver. You had no Firefox driver, you had no Chrome driver, you had no iDriver in RC. Okay, GRID. GRID is something very different. What we do is that we build our WebDriver code. If I give you 7 test cases, you will build the WebDriver code. If you want to run those 7 test cases which you have written in WebDriver, we use GRID, which can run them parallelly. Okay, GRID comes over later on when you have built your test cases in WebDriver code. Alright. So anybody with any other questions? Anyone? Fine. Okay, thanks for you.
Yeah.
So fine. Now, what is our batch ID? You will get it by next Saturday. Batch ID will be required to watch the videos, Kishore. But right now, for this weekend, you'll get the videos in the email. Okay, I'll email you. Yeah. Fine then, I'll end up this session. If you want to join the session, you can come on the live chat of the website. Okay, fine. You will get a new invite for tomorrow's class as well. Okay, fine. Alright. And one more thing, you'll get a new invite, a new meeting link, and this is the link for the syllabus. I'll again share it with you. The Excel file which I was using, I've shared it. Okay. Now, Gaganjeet is asking a question. If we had any queries during weekdays, what is the forum? The forum link will be in your account, Gaganjeet. You can access the forum from your account.
Ashish,